It's October, you know what I'm saying? It's almost Halloween, so I had to make this video. If you're a horror movie fan, you probably remember the movie It Follows. It was one of the most well-received horror films in 2014, probably the entire 2010s, and it seems they're filming a sequel called They Follow next year. And I need to get my jokes off before that happens. You ever watch a horror movie where you think the characters are kind of stupid, but you give them, you give them a pass because if they use common sense, the movie would be short and probably wouldn't start to begin with. That's kind of how I feel about It Follows. The solution's obvious. It's unpleasant, but obvious. The villain of this movie is an STD demon, but unlike actual STDs, it doesn't multiply, it just gets transferred. So the main character Jay is just cooling. She's met some guy who she refers to as Hugh, and she's going on dates with him. This is kind of my first strike here. So Hugh caught the demonic STD from whoever, from some chick. So instead of hiring a prostitute or an escort, he wastes his time courting some chick to sleep with him. Imagine how taxing that is. Like, bro, your life's in danger. You gotta constantly duck this demonic entity while waiting for Shorty to put out. Keep in mind, the demon is always following you. It's just slow as hell. So you have to constantly be moving. The demon can be anyone. Bro, I'm sorry. I'm getting rid of this demon expeditiously. And also, this demon operates like Santa. It keeps a list. If they kill whoever you pass it to, it's coming right back to you. It's best to pass it to a prostitute because the SCD is going to be passed to 10 different niggas by the end of the week. So this confuses me. He takes Jay for a drive where she finally gives it up. Hugh proceeds to knock her out and explain the situation to her. How is this preferable to passing it to a prostitute? You had to sit there and wait for the STD demon to come and find y'all just to show her that it's real. Now he gotta explain it to her and hope she believes him, and he needs her to pass it along because if she dies, he just did all that work for nothing. So bro just drops her barely walking ass home and prays for the best. Brilliant plan. Brilliant plan. So after some encounters with the It Burns demon, they decide to find Hugh, whose real name is Jeff. Why did they need to find Jeff? I don't know. He pretty much already told her everything. But turns out old boy got the demonic clap from some one night stand he had with some chick at the bar. So dude can have one night stands, but he can't sleep with a prostitute to literally save his life. I would have smacked Jeff talking about I didn't mean to hurt you. That's literally what your intention was. Like you planned this instead of hitting the corners like a regular person would. Jeff tells her to take a long drive so she can think about what she wants to do. What is there to think about? I would have came back with the switch. They drive to a beach. After a day of staying at the beach, the demon shows up and starts throwing hands. So Jay and the rest of them decide to run inside a barn. And I gotta say this. Why do they always run into closed off locations? The thing walks at you. It doesn't run at you. You don't need to hide from it. Nor can you. So what's the point? Just briskly walk to your car and leave. They start shooting at the demon, which does mostly nothing to it. It eats the bullets like vitamins. After realizing that she can't hide, Shorty does the only logical thing. She runs to the car and leaves her whole gang. But be for real, she could have waited for them if we're gonna be honest. That demon was not catching them. This dumb chick though ends up crashing anyways. But of course she does. It's not a horror movie if some chick doesn't trip or crash the car. Shorty wakes up in the hospital. She's lucky the demon didn't get her stupid ass yet, honestly. While in the hospital, though, she decides to pass it on to Greg. Not a bad idea to pass it on since you're, in the hospital and you're helpless. Bad idea to pass it on to Greg. Greg doesn't even believe anything supernatural is happening, so he's not going to take the proper precautions. And he's your neighbor. As soon as the SCD demon is done with bro, it's coming for you. You're right next door. You're a walk across from the street. Like, bad idea. It's like the Reaper meme where he exits, a door and goes straight into the next one. That's this whore. And you can tell bro right here is salty as fuck. She ain't passed the STD to him. Just work on yourself, King. But in reality, he would have been a better person to pass it to since he, actually believes her. But again, No one has common sense in these films, so I can't even be too mad. Jay sees the demon creeping up in Gray's crib, so she tries to warn him. Jay breaks into the house, which probably is a good way to get framed for a supernatural murder, to be honest. But, she's screaming at Greg to not open the door. And did this nigga just not hear her screaming to not open the door, or did he just choose to properly ignore her? Because he opens the door and immediately gets killed by the demon posing as his half naked mom with her tits out. That was kind of a weird scene, but whatever. Greg is dead. What a waste. After Greg dies, Jay makes the first smart decision and drives off somewhere. It looks like she sees two niggas in a boat and swims to them. Maybe in the hopes of a threesome? I don't know. But whatever. So apparently, I guess she changes her mind about the threesome because of what happened to Greg. I guess she doesn't want anyone to die. So, whatever. Greg is dead. Meanwhile, this other nigga, Paul, is whining still about how it wasn't him. Boy, the guy is dead. Be glad it wasn't you. Never seen someone mad they didn't catch a deadly STD. First time for everything. After Greg dies, Jay and Paul have a heart to heart about why Jay passed her herpes AIDS to Greg instead of him. This has to be the goofiest scene ever. That man just died because you infected him, and bro is crying because he didn't get affected. Personally, I'm not having this conversation. I'm just going to be happy I was friend zoned. First time a nigga would be happy he got friend zoned. On my mama. Jay nonetheless explains to bro her reasoning for choosing Greg, and it's as stupid as most of this movie. She chose Greg because she had already slept with him before and, felt it wasn't that big a deal. Look, I get where she's coming from a physical and emotional standpoint, but this is not strategically smart. Now's not the time to be picky about who you sleep with. That should have came before this. Lucky for Jay, she has some pretty good friends, like unrealistically good friends. The friend zone simp Paul comes up with a plan, and I have to say this is the most pointless thing ever. So Paul takes them to the pool they used to go to as kids, and the plan is to put Jay in the water and then throw in a bunch of electrical equipment when the STD demon shows up. Now, obviously, there's more than a few ways this could go wrong in my mind. They have electrical equipment plugged in. What if the demon just decides to push one in? That's where my brain went watching this. And surprise, surprise, that's exactly what happens. Lucky for Jay's dumbass, she didn't get electrocuted. But now she has this STD demon yeeting stuff at her. Meanwhile, this jackass Paul ups pole and starts shooting at whatever. No type of aim. He doesn't even know what he's shooting at and ends up shooting their friend Yara. I believe that's how you pronounce her name anyways. After missing 50 times and somehow managing to shoot their friend, Jay's sister Kelly does the only smart thing and throws a blanket over the demon because that's the only way this dumbass was going to hit it. After finally killing the demon, Jay finally decides to pass the curse to Paul. So it's clear they're not convinced that they killed the demonic being. Which makes sense, since they already tried shooting it before. So this begs the question, what was the point of going to the pool? They just be doing shit. Paul is finally, doing what I would have done in driving by some nighttime street dwellers. But I guess he chickens out. So stupid. I don't know what time period this movie takes place in. I'm assuming 2014, which means Tinder has been a thing for 2 years. I can understand not wanting to sleep with a prostitute, but this is life or death. Meanwhile, Yara, the girl who Paul shot, I wonder how they explained that to the hospital, by the way. Can you just go to the hospital with a bullet in you and the cops not get involved? Because Paul definitely shot her. For some reason, Yara's dumbass is reading a literature piece about death. Like, shorty, read the room. So, there you go. End of the story. Jay and Paul walk off into the sunset with an STD demon walking right behind them, right around the corner, threatening to end their lives. Happy ending. Like, should they maybe not be together constantly or something? I don't know. But yeah, interesting movie, I suppose. Stupid movie, but interesting nonetheless. Honestly, if I had to choose which horror movie to live in, I'd definitely choose this one because they have it good compared to everyone else, especially compared to them smile niggas. I'd survive this easily. Mostly because I really get any type of hoes. But even if on the rare occasion I get burnt by one of these hoes, I know exactly what I'm doing. Escorts are getting cracked every day of the week just to be safe. Might have to burn through my savings, but hey, we're surviving one way or another. And it's not like in the movie Smile where you have the opportunity to get rid of the curse because if you die, all it does in it follows this movie, all it does is go back to the nigga who gave it to you in the first place and so on. And by the way, where is that Jeff guy? I mean, you think he'd be wanting to at least help or keep in contact to make sure Shorty's still alive, because if she dies, big bro, you next. Is my guy just constantly living in fear, not knowing what's going on, if the demon could get him at any time while he's sleeping or maybe impersonate someone he knows? Like, seriously, he should be in constant contact with her and be of some type of use, bro. He just disappears the entire movie. Hopefully in They Follow, they're not as stupid, but I doubt it. Otherwise, there would be no movie. But, wait, what if because Jay and Paul keep trading this STD demon between each other, and the AIDS demon just gets annoyed by it and splits into two entities, and that's why it's called They Follow. That'd be pretty funny, doing all that extra shit just to make it worse.